In this video, we're going to be using Power Query to get data from a website by example. So Power Query has had the web connector for quite a while, and it allows you to get any data that's in HTML table tags into your query. So for example, here's a website, Wikipedia page that has a table in it, and you can tell it's a table. It looks like a table, but if you right click and inspect and open Chrome Developer Tools, then you can actually see that it's using the table tags. So it is a table, and I'm just going to close that out. But in this video, we're going to use a feature that's in Power Query for Power BI Desktop, but not quite in the Excel version yet. And it's going to allow us to get data that's not in a table format or using the HTML table tags. So here's an example of an IMDb page that lists the top 250 movies. And we're going to learn how to use Power BI Desktop to get this data. So first of all, I'm going to go up to the URL and just copy and paste that. And come over to my Power BI Desktop. And we're going to go to Get Data. And we're going to get data from the web. And we'll just paste our URL in there and press OK. And that's going to open up this navigator window. And this is the same window that you're going to see in the Excel version of Power Query. And for this particular web page, we've got two options here. We can try and get data from the whole HTML document. And if you're going to try and do that, that's going to be quite a nightmare. Or it looks like we have another table in our web page. And that's not the data we want. So if we take a look at the web view and maybe scroll down, we can see that it's this section down here that's a table, and that's information we don't want. But with Power BI Desktop, we have this new button here, Add Table Using Examples. So this is not in Excel Power Query. And if we click on that, then it's going to open up this new menu here. So we have a preview of the web page we're trying to scrape data from. And then we have a section down here where we can add examples of the data we want. So I'm just going to take a look at the first entry here. So we have Shawshank Redemption. And the first thing I want to get is the title of each of these movies. So I'm just going to double click here and rename this column to title. And then in the first cell, what we need to do is provide some examples. So I'm just going to start typing out the Shawshank Redemption. And we've actually got an autocomplete menu. So I can use the arrow keys and select the title and press enter. And then I'm going to provide the next example. So click on cell number 2. And that's The Godfather. And I'll select that one. And when I press down and go to the next cell, you can see that Power Query has guessed the remaining titles. So we're just going to take a look at some of them and make sure they're correct. So let's take a look at number 5 here, and we can see it's Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And let's just expand that out. And that's the title we have here. So everything's looking good. Now let's add another column. And maybe this data, we're going to get the rating. And again, we're going to provide it a couple examples. So the rating here is 9.3 for the first film. And for the second film, it's 9.2. And we get those gray values down here. So those are the guesses. And let's just check and make sure a couple of those are correct. So let's take a look at number 5, 8.9. That's what we have up here. So that looks okay. Let's grab one more piece of data. So let's get the gross revenue. And you don't actually always need to provide the first example. So let's maybe try getting the example down here. So number 9. That's Fight Club, and it's 37.03. And let's just get the film above that. It's 4.36. And we get the guesses filled in above and below there. And we can check some of those and make sure they're okay. And when we're happy with all the data that we've got, we can press OK. And we come back to the navigator screen, and we had our previous choices here, but we have this new choice down here. So this is the table that we created by example. We can select that, and let's just go to our table view and make sure that's the data that we just made. Looks good. We can edit that. And let's just remove those change type step. And let's take a look at what the query is actually doing. So here's the step extracted table from HTML. And you can see it's using this function here, html.table, and it's creating these columns based on some CSS selectors. So you could write this formula yourself, but you would need to use Chrome Developer Tools and look at the CSS IDs and things like that in the HTML document. But with the get table by example feature, you don't need to do any of that. It's going to write those formulas for you. And let's just finish off this query by maybe getting rid of some of these dollar signs. So let's replace values. And let's replace that dollar sign with nothing. And let's also get rid of that M. And now let's change these types. And instead of having these as millions, I'm also going to multiply that by 1,000,000 so that it's single dollars. There we go. And let's just rename this query. And let's go up to the File tab and close and apply. And now we can go to the data view in Power BI. And if we want to get this data in Excel, so this feature for getting data from the web by example isn't in Power Query for Excel yet. But if we want the data in Excel, we can come to the data view and right-click on the table and copy the table and then paste it into Excel. So that's the Get Data by Example feature in Power Query. It's only available in Power BI Desktop right now and not in the Excel version of Power Query. Hopefully it'll be coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for future Power BI, Excel, Flow, and Power Apps videos. That's it for this video. See you in the next one.